Good afternoon. Hello. Hello, good afternoon. I thank God for this opportunity to stand in front of the brethren. I don't know, it's not really easy to, public speaking. I have the opportunity again to feel my knees trembling as well as my voice. So, I would like to invite everyone to open your Bibles, please, to Galatians chapter 6, verses 6 to 10. So, I will read all of the verses. You could just follow with your eyes. So, starting at verse 6. Let him that is taught in the word communicate unto him that teacheth in all good things. Be not deceived. God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he reap also. For he that soweth in the flesh shall in the flesh reap corruption. But he that soweth to the Spirit shall in the Spirit reap life everlasting. And let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are in the household of faith. And the word just the reading of our word. Shall we pray before we start? Our Heavenly Father, once again, Lord, we come to your presence this afternoon, Lord. We ask, Lord, that you bless us, especially in our doctrine class. We ask, Lord, that you give us the spirit of understanding, Lord. And we ask also, Lord, that whatever the instructions that our enemy is trying to do, give us, Lord, the focus so that we will be able to learn your word and apply it to our lives, Lord. We ask, Lord, all of these things in Jesus' name. Okay, so once again, good afternoon. We are now on lesson 7. Of course, this is part 2. I believe part 1 was discussed last week. I wasn't here, unfortunately. And so in the previous lesson, we learned the precepts, the principles, and the promise of sowing and reaping. These laws are natural laws that cannot be reversed. When you say law, it's already been established, right? There's a fundamental truth to it as the basis of a foundation or a belief. So God declared already that whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. That is found in Galatians 6, 7. So this afternoon, we will learn how the law and sowing addresses our human needs or our human expectations. Okay? So, on the first point, there are 7 points that we're going to discuss this afternoon. So, in the first point, a man expects to reap when he sows. So on the blank there, we put the word when. So take note of this word when. I believe this is an adverb, correct me if I'm wrong. It denotes time. When you do an action, this one expresses what time did you start that action. So, it is on our human nature that when we put our effort, our time, our energy into something, we expect results, right? So, because otherwise, what's the use? If you're working For example, if you're trying to fix something, you're putting all your effort in it because you're expecting the result that the damaged thing that you're doing could be fixed. This also holds true, like for example, remember when we were still studying, we put so much energy on it because our end goal, especially when I'm talking about in the school system, our end goal is to graduate, right? And you cannot graduate if you don't study, and at the very first, you don't enroll. So this is the point that I'm trying to expound here is if you want to read something first, you have to first sow, right? Are you familiar with the word of the quotation, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step? Yeah? So, if you don't sow, you will never reap. That's the law. And so much as the truth also is, if you don't give, you don't expect to receive. Amen? Right? So, let's do a quick survey. Who among you here wants to receive? The receive could be anything, money, financial blessing. Right? Amen. The second question, who among you here wants to give? So now we understand that Pastor John is concerned with our incoming mission. Okay, so if we want to receive financial blessings, my brothers and sisters in the Lord, the very first thing that we should do is to sow. Amen? Proverbs 10:4, the Bible says that he becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent man maketh rich. Yeah? So that's our point number one. A man expects to reap when he sows. Second point, a man expects to reap the same kind as he sowed. So you could put on the blank the word kind. It is also true that when we do something, put our efforts, our energy, not only we expect a result, but we expect a result that is similar or direct to what we have done. Let's say, for example, if you planted a corn, do you think you will reap a banana? No, right? So if you plant a corn, you will reap also a corn. Because that's the law, that's the truth. The same way if you plant a rice, you will also reap a rice. So if you sow kindness, what do you think you will reap from it? Kindness also, right? Right? So let's say if you sow love, you know, when you're courting someone, you're trying to sow love, but in return you didn't reap love kasi nabasted ka. So does it mean that the law of sowing and reaping is false? No, right? Because it could just simply mean that this person is not the right one for you that our Lord has prepared. Wrong soil. We'll get to that later. Yeah. So if you sow money, do you think you will reap money? Amen? Yes, amen. Now, you'll ask me, Brother Carl, I'm very sowing hard for money. And say, I'm working 24 hours 7, but it seems that the money that I'm reaping from it is not the, hindi ko kumikita or it's not enough. But here's the thing. What if the Lord already knew about your situation, about your current job, your struggles in it, but we don't know He's already preparing a wonderful job for you that that gives compensation that you want. But He also know that in order for you to do well or excel on the future job that is preparing for you, you need first to endure the hardship of your current job. Because sometimes the problem is we lack in faith, are short-sighted, as human as we are. Sometimes we're getting impatient, and by the end product of that, we tend to take drastic decisions in our lives, and at the end, we miss out the plan of our Lord for us. Okay? So, if a man expects to reap the same kind as what he sow, that's our second, this talks about manner. Number 3 on your notes, a man expects to reap more than he sow. In here, on this point number 3, we're more talking about the quantity. If you will plant 1 sack of corn, you will harvest several sacks, right? But also, there's a truth that if you give a little, you will get a little. Amen? On 2 Corinthians 9:6, but this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly. And he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully. So, if you want to reap more bountifully, just always remember that you should also sow bountifully. Amen? And let's go to number 4. A man expects to reap in different season than when he sow. So the word there is season. If you sow on August, you will reap in October. This is a sample. Sometimes you don't see the immediate results of what you're doing. This is true in the, when you plant, it doesn't really, when you plant rice on, let's say, this month, could expect to harvest at the following week. Because again, sowing and reaping is a process, right? Amen. So, if you give now, you will receive later. So there's a time involved with it. Brother, could you flash Ecclesiastes 11:1? Yeah. So Ecclesiastes 11:1 states that, cast thy bread upon the waters, for thou shalt it find after many days. Shall find it after many days. So King Solomon here was pressing an exhortation, especially to those. He was pressing an exhortation to works of charity and bounty to the poor. So if you look at the verse, the waters there refers to the poor multitude, to those who are sa pinakapos. Then the word find it entails a certainty to be restored. What he's saying is the blessings, the help that you share with the less fortunate, there's a certainty that it will come back to you. And take note of the word after. It connotes there that, of course, there may be a slow return, but it is sure and plentiful. So that's number 4. A man expects to reap different season when he sow. There's a time to it. So let us be patient. If you think that all of your effort is not, bearing fruits, just try to be patient. So number 5, a man expects to reap where he sows. The word here is where, kung saan. We must be careful when we sow otherwise. Where we sow. Otherwise, we will reap things that are not pleasant to God and will bring us to our downfall. It is all about what we value or we prioritize in life. So, here's the question. Are we sowing in the soil of flesh, or are we sowing in the soil of the Spirit? We can use our material goods to promote the flesh or to promote the things of the Spirit. So, Matthew 13:22 says that he also received seed among the thorns. You see that here the word, in the care of this world, and the deceitfulness of the riches is the deceitfulness of the riches choke the word and become unfruitful. This came from the parable of the sower. If you can remember, some fell on the wayside, some fell on the rocky, stony places, some on the thorny place, and the other ones the good ground. This is a gentle reminder to all of us that we should really check our motives. There's nothing wrong with gaining financial wealth, but if the word says the love of money is the root of evil. It's not the money itself, but the love for it. So remember lesson 2 of our series. Why God withholds financial prosperity to his children. And if you could remember, one of the first lesson there is maybe the Lord doesn't, in spite of his riches, doesn't bless you because you cannot be trusted of his money. You remember that? And under that, because you cannot be trusted of money, because if you first, the lesson of the effect of recall is when we have money, we have material possessions, we become proud. Then, second is I think we forget God because we become materialistic and we must admit that sometimes these things tends to deviate our focus and our attention. Also that we become proud, we forget God, we love the gifts, but we forget the giver. And the last is we spend money on the wrong things. So I don't know if you encountered the temptation that we buy things we don't need with the money we don't have. Yeah, to impress the person that we don't like. Amen? So let me repeat that. We buy things we don't need with the money we don't have to impress people we don't like. So, and what's the sad thing about this is, I have known many believers that they fall when they got richer. So I think if you have this well, there are certain times that it's choking you, it's overpowering you. So we should always check our motives. So let's ask again ourselves, where do we sow? Is it on the good soil or the soil of the Spirit? And number 6, a man expects to reap if he perseveres. The word there is persevere. So let's take this as a challenge, of course. On Galatians 6:9, and let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not. So here are the truths about it. You sow the seed and work hard to grow it. Second is, if you faint, you won't get anything. Amen? So, as I mentioned before, try to always remember that sowing and reaping is a process. There is no shortcut. There is no shortcut. You really have to work hard for it. And also think about this. If you have the money, which do you think is the one that you could easily spend or yung nawawala? Is it the money that you have worked very hard for it, or is it the money that you just received? Diba? That the one that you always tend to lose is the money that you didn't work hard for it. Because of course there's a certain you could relate to it na pinaghirapan mo. So number 7. So this is the last one. A man expects not to change the past harvest. So the last point here, the blanker is change. So you don't expect to change the past harvest. Don't dwell on the past, but instead do something for the future. Amen. If there's nothing you could do about last year's harvest, let's say last year's mission, you felt that you only have given not that enough. Well, you could start this year. Do something about it. If you feel that you need to give more, this is the opportunity as we start another year for our missions. So, in conclusion, if you could see on the notes, there are things there which enumerate the blessings when we follow the law of sowing and reaping. So, there you will have a beautiful harvest. God's love, you will attain it, abundant grace, sufficiency, abundance in good works, given the poor, remaining the righteous. Multiply seed, thanksgiving to God, and so on. It's all enumerated in 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 6 to 15. So, this is the law of sowing and reaping. A man expects to reap when he sow. A man expects to reap the same time as he sow. A man expects to reap more than he sow. A man expects to reap in different season than when he sow. A man expects where he sow. And what is this? A man expects to reap, he perseveres, and a man expects not to change the past harvest. So I hope that with a given short time that I explained, you have learned something from our lessons.
Thanks so much, Brother Carl. I think we have a new record holder for the record holder previously is Brother Norman. So somebody did you already. Yours was 20. This is this how many minutes? Okay. Brother Martin, can you please stand at the front here? Go ahead, brother. Okay. Face them, okay? Do you have something you can hold in your hand? Yeah, you get something, okay? Your eyeglass or something.
Do you have a...
Okay, okay. Maybe the bigger one. Maybe the bigger one. Okay. Not the Bible. Not the Bible. The marker. Okay. Okay, that's good, that's good, that's good. Okay. Yeah, that's good, that's good. Show it, okay? Show it everyone. Okay. You know the natural laws. What are some of the natural laws that you know? The law of gravity. The law of gravity. Okay, stay there. Don't change your mind now. The law of gravity says anything that goes down goes up. When you throw an object into the air, it will always come down. Will you try, Brother Martin? No, come on. I did not let you do it before. Throw it in the air. Throw it. Okay. Higher. Okay. Do it 100 times. Do it 100 times. We will see after throwing it 100 times if there is a possibility that it will never go down. We will see if it stays up or it goes even higher. Okay? 100 times, Brother Martin. You throw an object and it always, that's the natural law. That's why in our introduction it says, these laws, the divine law of soil living, like other natural laws, they cannot be reversed. They cannot be reversed. So we have the divine laws of soil living nila. Kung ano ang itinanim mo, yun din ang aanihin mo. So, let's look at those verses again before we go. Para hindi rin everything you did, Brother Carl, was great. From verse 1 until verse number 5 of Galatians chapter 6, the subject was about burdens. But when we get to verse number 6, all of a sudden, the topic has changed. The Bible says, let him that is taught in the Word. Sino yan? Sino yung mga tinuturo ng salita ng Panginoon? Ha? Tayo. Okay? We, including myself. The Bible says, communicate. What does the word communicate means? Brother Ramil mentioned this earlier. It's talking about sharing or giving. Okay, if you read proof, Philippians chapter 4, you see that verse? What verse? Either 8 or 10. And Philippians chapter 4, it's talking about giving. Philippians chapter 4, verse number 15, okay? Yeah, verse number 15. Now you Philippians know also that in the beginning of the gospel, when I departed from Macedonia, no church communicated with me concerning giving and receiving, but give only. So the Bible says, communicate to him that teacheth in all good things. So it's already teaching us to be givers. And then verse 7 says, be not deceived. Don't let Satan fool you. Don't let Satan whisper to your ears. The Bible says, God is not mocked. You cannot fool God. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Verse 8, for he that soweth to his, so we can also sow in the flesh. When you sow in the flesh, that means when you do, this law of sowing and reaping has two sides. It can either be negative or positive. You sow good things, you will harvest good things. You sow bad things or evil things, you will also reap evil things. Okay? That's why he says, for he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. But he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit life everlasting. Let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith. So, what are the blanks here? When a man expects to reap when he... So, the thing is, if you don't have a deposit at commercial bank, don't go to the ATM. Don't even go to commercial bank and ask for money. You will not get anything. But if you made a deposit, okay, you can get money from the bank, you can get more from the bank. Okay? And number two, you expect to reap the same time. And number three, you expect to reap more than you sow. That's the quantity. Number four, you expect to reap in different season. Kapag nagtanim ka ng palay, it will take you 3 months before you harvest. If you plant coconut, it will coconut. Okay, in Africa. It will take you years before you harvest. And then a man expects to reap what you sow. Again, let me reiterate this truth. If you sow in the flesh, you will also reap in the flesh. If you sow sin, you will harvest sin. Okay? Sometimes you do things that are wrong, and you think it's okay because you're not caught or nothing happens to you. The Lord doesn't discipline you, so you think it's okay. Can you give me Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse number 11? That's a short verse. Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse number 11. Again, in different seasons that you sow, positive or negative, in the flesh or in the spirit, do this. Because sometimes against an evil work is not executed speedily or right away, hindi na i-execute agad yung punishment. Therefore, the heart of the sons of men is fully set on them to do evil. Tuloy-tuloy pa rin. Kasi akala natin wala namang nangyayari. Pero talagang darating yan. Just wait for it. It will come. Okay? So a man expects to reap if he perseveres. The Bible says, be not weary. And do not expect to change last year's harvest. Kung ano man yung failure mo nung nakaraan, you can never bring back the past. We are living in a world where you have so many inventions, but man will never be able to invent a machine that can bring back the past. There is no way you can bring the past. There is nothing you can do about last year's harvest, but there is something you can do about this year's harvest. Amen? Okay, so let's review how to get more money from God. What is the first lesson? In the first lesson, we learned that anong in-address natin na? Okay, without looking into notes, we look at the problem. What is the problem? The problem of not having enough money. Why is that? Because when we were saved, we already belong. Most Christians belong to the lower strata of the society. Dati na tayong mahirap noon. Why? Because people that are rich are very hard to get saved. So when we got saved, we were already in that stage. So when you got saved, that's why we are still, we are poor. Okay? And we also learned another lesson that Christians are poor not only because they belong to the lower strata of the society, but therefore because they have never been taught about biblical stewardship. They have never been taught about money from the scriptures. And we also learned another reason. Pastors are hesitant to teach about giving for fear that they will be misunderstood. Okay? But our duty as pastors is to declare the whole counsel of truth. Our desire should not to rob people of the blessings. And we know that the only way you can be blessed is when you learn to be generous to the Lord's word. Okay? So we learn that, and of course, there is another reason, which is just love for mammon instead of loving God. And then we learn in the second lesson, God is our Father, and we are His children, and our Father is, and so we should also be, but we are poor. And the reason is, God has so much wealth, but He is what? Withholding that money. Why? Because we cannot be trusted. When He blesses us, what do? We become proud. Okay? when He blesses us, we forget God. Okay? When we are blessed, we love the gift and we forget the giver. And we also use the money, spend it in wrong things. Selfishly for ourselves, or even for wrong things sometimes, like vices and all those things. Okay. Another reason is that not only that we cannot be trusted, the second reason is God will lose financial prosperity because we do not have faith in God. We do not have the faith to believe that God will do what He said we will do. Now the challenge is, if you will guarantee, if you can convince the Lord, you don't have to do that. God sees your heart. If you can correct yourself and make sure that God can trust you, you will not become proud, you will not forget God, you will not love the money and forget God, you will not spend the money with wrong things, and you will resolve that you will believe in whatever God says, then you just unlock the blessings of the Lord. It's like now you have opened the padlock to God's blessings. Okay? Now, what are the steps now to financial prosperity? Once na-settle mo yun, now let's go to the steps of financial prosperity. What do you do next? First, you need to what? Ask God for a job, or ask God for a better job. Okay? Ask God for a job, and or ask Him for a better job. And then what do you do next? You go and look for the job. Don't wait for the job to come to you. Go and look for the job. Ask and you shall. It shall be given to you. Seek and you shall find. Go look for the job. Now, once you have the job, what do? You work hard and be honest. Okay? You get riches the right means. Be responsible. Be the best working employee in your company and all those things. Okay? So you ask them for a job. Now you have a job. And what is next? You make God your... Now, we are coming to the hard part. Okay? Make God your partner. If you are a taxi driver, make God your co-taxi driver. Okay? So, you're driving the taxi, the Lord is with you because you are partners. Whatever your work is, make God your partner. If you have a business, make God your co-business partner. If you are an engineer, make God your co-engineer. If you are an accountant, make God your co-accountant. Whatever you do, make Him your partner. And then secondly, what do? You share your profits with God. How much is He asking? The 10%. How much is yours? Okay. Is the 10% yours or no? No, it's His. It's His share. So if you don't give that, that means you are robbing Him. You are not honest with Him. How can you expect Him to bless you? Okay? So you share your profits with God. And Brother Jenner did a great job explaining the tithes. And then, he also learned not only that you give the tithes, give beyond the tithes. That's your love offering, and you can also do sacrificial giving. So now the more you learn to give to the Lord, the more the Lord can trust you. So He blesses you with more blessings. Okay? Remember what the Bible says, labor not to be rich, we do not work, so that we will be rich. That's up to the Lord. Our motive should be to work in order for us to glorify the Lord. So those are the steps to financial prosperity. And now we move to the lesson about sowing and reaping. So what will you do concerning the subject about sowing and reaping? Having learned this, having learned the principles, the precepts, the promises, having learned these things here, what will you do? Ano gagawin niyo? What do you suggest? Let's what? Let's sow. Okay? What else? Are you satisfied with just sowing a little bit? You sow a little bit, you reap what? A little bit. So let's sow, and let's sow as much as we can. Okay? And the more you do that, the more the Lord will pour out blessing into your life. I hope that you will grab a hold of the truth, and as we have said earlier, have the faith to believe that God will do what He said He will do. Amen? Amen. One question before we go? Okay? What do you want us to do? You sow more, or you go? Okay? Brother Samuel, The Bible says, be not deceived, God is not back, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. One of the things we learn is, you reap the same in kind as you sow. When you walk in the street, you smile to people, what do you get back? Smile, most often. This is smile. In fact, my wife would, do you know that person? Because sometimes I drive, we stop light, here comes the guy, and then the guy, my wife says, do you know him? No. Okay. I just went to my hand and he said. So you try that one. You say somebody, just wave the hand, they will reply. Okay? You smile, they smile back at you. That's the law of sowing and reaping. Okay? See, even you that's it. You say amen. Okay? Okay, so you plant money, you reap money. Whatsoever, that's how you sow. Not indeed the same season, it may be different season, but you will. Okay? 1, 2. Any more questions? You have so many questions when it comes to typing, but now, okay, all the questions are valid. Okay, anyone else? Okay, so now, Brother Martin.
What if you sow that you get, for example, you sow it then you don't get a good harvest?
What?
You sow, then you don't get the good harvest.
You saw and you don't get
Get the same.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
What happened? You have sown, yeah?
uh,
You don't get the same.
let me say this. You will reap what you sow, but let me say this. Sometimes, do not sow what you reap. Okay? Sometimes, don't sow what you reap. Because many of us, we planted something, you planted seed. What did you do? What happened? You reap what? Punishment. And then, so we harvested that already, and then we sow it again. Learn from your mistakes. Sometimes, I said, no, in the negative side, do not sow what you reap. If God dealt with you already, you have no harvest because you have been stealing from the Lord, okay? That's maybe one reason. So don't sow that again. Because you will reap again if you sow again. But there is a question here by Dr. Martin. Okay? What about if you sow something, but you did not get anything?
Maybe the seed is spoiled. The seed is spoiled.
I sow.
The seed is?
But I didn't sow the seed.
Maybe the seed is spoiled. Okay.
I did.
You did?
I did plant the seed. I did not get it.
My advice is sow again. That's part of perseverance. Okay? You sow again. And probably this time you ask the Lord. Maybe we do not know what did you do last time. The Bible says the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. The Bible also says, trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not unto the understanding. All thy ways one. Acknowledge him and he shall direct thy paths. Maybe you sold something but it's definitely wrong. Maybe your motives are wrong. Okay? But when you do something with the blessing of the Lord, it will never go wrong. It was probably because you were doing it on your own without the blessing of the Lord. Okay, Brother Samuel?
Someone gave 1,000 cows. He gave 1,000 cows. But God, the already gave, not already cows. God gave him more. God gave him a system. Sacrifice and he not 1,000 cows. So my point is, yes, I can give money, but God can, and only that money, like Solomon, he give cows, not just the cows. God gives them
He will give you so much more. He will give you so much more. He will give you so much more. The Lord will give you what is best for you. Okay? And